The Craig Rip-Cut Circular Saw Edge Guide takes the intimidation out of cutting and allows you to make cuts without measuring, without marking, and without having to keep the saw from wandering off of a cut line. The Rip-Cut turns your ordinary circular saw into a precision edge-guided cutting tool that makes straight, accurate, repeatable cuts in plywood, MDF, and other large sheets easy and accurate. And because projects often call for multiple pieces to be cut the exact same size, with the Rip-Cut, you can lock in a size and can be confident that with cut after cut, the pieces will be exactly the same size. Also, you can make these cuts anywhere you need to by taking your saw to the material instead of having to bring your material to the saw. The Rip-Cut makes this possible with a universal sled that holds your saw, an aluminum guide rail with built-in measuring scale, and an oversized edge guide that follows the edge of the plywood sheet to provide complete control as you cut. The universal sled can also be used on the Craig AccuCut. The Rip-Cut works with just about any circular saw, whether it has a blade mounted on the left or the right side. Plus, the edge guide is reversible, so the Rip-Cut works equally well right-handed and left-handed. Mounting your saw on the Rip-Cut is quick and easy, and your saw can be removed for other uses, then reinstalled just as quickly. Using the Rip-Cut is easy too. Just lock the saw sled at your desired cut, from 1 inch up to 24 inches wide, then simply hold the edge guide against your sheet, turn the saw on, and go. A large handle on the edge guide that helps you maintain solid contact with the edge of your sheet. With the Rip-Cut Circular Saw Edge Guide, it's just that easy. There's no measuring and no marking, just straight, accurate, repeatable cuts every time.
It's the first saw gauge that doesn't require any assembly, setup, or calibration. It's also the only saw gauge that automatically tracks the exact center of your miter channel, regardless of its width or condition. How does it do that? Simpler than you might think. By straddling a pair of smaller precision pins with a larger machine cradle pin, which creates the perfect mechanism for finding the center of your miter slot. Watch how easy it is to use the saw gauge to check how parallel our saw blade is to the miter slot. Even variations as small as 1/1000th of an inch can be easily measured and adjusted for by repositioning the trunnion underneath the table or adjusting the saw top itself. What about the rip fence? The saw gauge tackles that job just as fast. With the blade lowered, bring the rip fence into range of the gauge. You can easily check how parallel the fence is to the miter slot as well. For the cleanest tear-out free cuts in plywood, set your fence exactly parallel to the miter channel. For solid wood, you may want to kick out the outfeed end a few thousandths. Now that you can make these measurements in mere seconds, and finally, if after everything your saw still doesn't cut smoothly, you may have a bent arbor. Just like with your blade and fence, the saw gauge can measure that as well.
Whether you're refreshing your existing cabinets, adding hardware to new ones, or you're building a project from scratch, the Cabinet Hardware Jig from Craig makes adding knobs and pulls incredibly easy. The Cabinet Hardware Jig takes all of the guesswork out of the process, giving you the confidence to add the finishing touch to doors and drawers without worrying about the mistakes that can come from having to measure and mark every time, or rely on flimsy, inaccurate templates. The Cabinet Hardware Jig is packed with features that ensure your success, like adjustable hardened steel drill guides, a movable edge guide, and built-in measuring scales. Together, they ensure simple, repeatable accuracy that allows you to get the job done quickly and correctly with professional, quality results. Using the Cabinet Hardware Jig to install cabinet pulls is simple. Just position the jig's adjustable drill guides to align with the mounting hole spacing that matches your pull. The drill guides ensure that the holes are drilled straight, something simple templates can't do, so pulls mount perfectly every time. And those drill guides are made from hardened steel, so they'll maintain their accuracy no matter how many mounting holes you drill. Drilling straight holes for the mounting screws is important, but positioning those holes exactly where they're needed is critical. The Cabinet Hardware Jig makes that incredibly easy, thanks to an adjustable edge guide. Simply slide the edge guide into position using the built-in measuring scales. Tighten the large wing knobs, and the edge guide is locked in place. Then use the measuring scale, or the centering window, to finish positioning the Cabinet Hardware Jig exactly where the mounting holes are needed. Clamp the jig in place and drill the holes using an ordinary 3/16" drill bit. That's all it takes. Best of all, with the Cabinet Hardware Jig, you can easily repeat the process again and again with the same accuracy, the same confidence, and the same great results. The Drawer Slide Jig from Craig makes it easier than you've ever imagined to build projects with drawers. The Drawer Slide Jig takes the guesswork and uncertainty out of installing drawer slides. and makes it easier for anyone to install drawers that fit right and glide smoothly every time. The drawer slide jig does this by securely supporting the slide in the exact position needed as you install them in the cabinet. Plus, the jig supports the drawer boxes as well to ensure that the slides get installed on them with perfect alignment too. Whether you're installing drawers in a cabinet with face frames or in a cabinet or piece of furniture without frames, the versatile drawer slide jig clamps in place easily. And the jig works with ball bearing, epoxy coated, and undermount slides. Using the drawer slide jig couldn't be simpler. Built-in tabs register the jig's brackets in place precisely. Just align the tabs with the face frame and then clamp the bracket in place. This positions the bracket exactly where you needed to place the jig at the right height and does it without measuring, ensuring foolproof, level positioning of the slide. On frameless cabinets and cases, the process is still simple. The brackets register against the front edge of the cabinet and clamp in place at the layout line, sitting straight and level every time. Once clamped in place, the jig's brackets support the drawer slide completely, providing that third hand you've always needed to hold the slides in place. No matter how big or heavy the slide, the drawer slide jig holds it in straight and level, so you have both hands free to drive in the screws. And the drawer slide jig doesn't stop there. After all, the job isn't complete until the drawer box itself is aligned and installed. That's why the jig's brackets are reversible, so they can be mounted to protrude out of the cabinet and hold that drawer box in the exact right position. That allows you to set the drawer box on the brackets and then pull the slides into position. The sturdy brackets hold everything in place as you drive in the mounting screws.
The Rockwell Jaw Horse. The Jaw Horse is a sturdy, portable workstation. And for those two-man jobs, the Jaw Horse becomes your second set of hands. The powerful Jaw Horse has over 1 ton of clamping force and can hold almost anything. If you could use a second set of hands on the job or around the house, then you need the Jaw Horse.
The Kreg Jig R3 is the portable, affordable way to create strong, tight-fitting Kreg joints, so you can make home improvements, build bookcases and shelves, create storage projects, build furniture, and more. Plus, the Kreg Jig R3 is great for making lasting repairs. Simply position the jig on one of the pieces to be joined, and then drill a pocket hole using the special Kreg stepped drill bit. Drive in a Kreg pocket hole screw, and you're done. The self-tapping screw pulls the pieces tightly together for a joint that's strong and secure without unsightly fasteners or messy glue. The Kreg Jig R3 works with materials from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inch thick to build indoor and outdoor projects using everything from thin plywood to 2x4s. Just adjust the positioning sliders on the jig to match the workpiece thickness. Then set the drill bit stop collar using the gauge built into the R3's carrying case. Clamp the R3 to the workpiece and it's ready to go to work. The included clamp pad adapter accepts any Kregwood project clamp, making setup and use even easier.
Many drill presses require manual adjustments in order to change from one speed to another. Use the following simple steps to adjust your drill press's speed to your workpiece's needs. In this example, we will demonstrate using the Wen 8-inch 5-speed drill press. This particular Wen drill press includes a guide to help determine the right RPM for your project. Step 1. Open your drill press and loosen the belt using the knob and latch located on the side of the drill press. Once the motor has shifted backwards, the belt will be loose enough to move around. Step 2. To change the speed, simply slip your finger under the loosened belt and gently pull to the desired level while rotating the pulleys. Step 3. After the belt has been put into place, use the side knob and latch to secure the motor and tighten the belt. Make sure to close the lid before plugging the machine back in. And that's how you manually adjust your drill press to the correct speed.